Okay, leave you in the hands of Mike Mullins.
Is this microphone operational? I just have a plug-in situation here. Well, you know, I guess I'll sit. Neil sat, so I'm gonna. I think. It's not? Oh, it feels just right. Oops. Do you hear that okay? Yeah. All right, this is, this guitar doesn't, it's pretty old, so it doesn't have any electronics or anything, so I just usually rely on a good microphone. And my name is Mike. I had my first international guitar camp experience last spring, in April. It seems like it was just yesterday. Just doesn't seem like any time has passed at all. But it was, all I remember is it was pretty cold up here, but much nicer now. So I'm going to be showing, teaching, instructing what we call flat picking, which is kind of a generic term for bluegrass guitar. Generally refers to when you play melodies or fiddle tunes on the guitar. It's kind of not all that disparate from any other style where you use a pick, but mostly the main difference is most of the picks we use for flat picking bluegrass guitar, rather of the stiff poker chip variety, and that reason for that is you get a little more push on the string and get a better tone, a little more volume, and it's a little easier to control when you don't have a pick that's bending all over the place. Although, it's kind of open to interpretation for what's comfortable and what works for you. But let's see what I do here. Well, this tune has some flat picking and bluegrass type rhythm in it, and it's also in drop D. My 81-year-old guitar is not behaving, but here we go. This is actually a song. It's got a fiddle tune cleverly hidden inside it. One of my favorite fiddle tunes called the St. Anne's Reel. And I like this tune because a lot of fiddle tunes are just 3 chords, and you can kind of see the changes coming a mile away. This one has a really interesting contour to the melody, and the chord changes I think are really beautiful. And I think it's originally a French-Canadian tune, but it's kind of been assimilated throughout the bluegrass community, and I've even played it at sessions in Ireland. So it's pretty. Don't know who wrote it, but anyway. This is a song that was written around the basis of this fiddle tune. It's called "The Ballad of St. Anne's Reel," and a lot of the stuff I'm do on guitar will be demonstrated in here. He was stranded in a tiny town on fair Prince Edward Isle, waiting for a ship to come and find him. One horse place, a friendly face, some coffee, and a tiny trace, a fiddle in the distance far behind him. Time across the counter then, a shy hello and a brand new friend. I walk along the streets in the wintry weather. A yellow light, an open door, and a welcome friend, there's room for more. and they're standing there inside together. He said, I've heard that tune before somewhere, though I can't remember when. Was it on some other friendly shore? Did I hear it on the wind? Was it written in sky above? I think I heard it from someone I love, but I've never heard sound so sweet since then. His feet begin to tap. The young girl says, I'll take your hand. He's caught up in the magic of her smile. Leaped the heart inside him when, and off across the floor he sent his clumsy body, graceful as a child. He said, there's magic in the fiddler's song, there's magic in this town. There's magic in the dancers' feet and the way they put 'em down. People smiling everywhere, boots and ribbons, locks of hair, laughter, old blue suits and Easter gowns. The sailor's gone, the room is bare, the old piano's sitting there, someone's hat's left hanging on the rack. The empty chairs, the wooden floor, they feel the touch of shoes no more, waiting for the dancers to come back. And the fiddle's in the closet of some daughter of the town. Springs are broke, the bow is gone, and the cover's buttoned down. But sometimes on December nights when the air is cold and the wind is right, there's a melody that passes through the town. Thank you. Yes, that was the Ballad of St. Anne's Reel, and it's got the fiddle tune St. Anne's Reel in it, which is in the key of D. And some players capo up and play it in C position. I like to do it in the open position. You know, and the melody is kind of. But what I kind of do with it is I play a lot of like notes that connect the melody together, and it kind of forms this train of notes. But the melody is still there. But you've got all these I don't know what you call them, grace notes, or just notes that sort of the arpeggiated patterns that kind of accentuate the melody and kind of support it. So it'd be like. This is kind of like instead of so I go oops, I forgot I tuned out of drop D, so because I was going to move on, but I just thought I'd demonstrate a little of it in case you haven't heard the tune St. Anne's Reel before. It's you know, it's kind of a But but I kind of add some of these cross-picking things to it to just kind of, not so much to dress it up or make it show-offy, but I just think it sounds neat to have, you know. Anyway, that's one version of flat picking. Another fiddle tune I like to play, at least on the guitar, is one that I think everyone's heard. It's called the Arkansas Traveler. You know, it kind of goes like this. It's the Bringin' Home a Baby Bumblebee song. That's basically it. And the thing about flat picking, I don't want to get too technical or in the weeds right now. I guess I'm supposed to be doing more tunes, but I was kind of taking a cue from Neil. I noticed how interesting it was for me to have him kind of explain his process and how he comes up with arrangements and break down techniques a little bit while playing a few tunes. Well, this one, I'm just going to play a little of it because this is actually one of your more kind of boring fiddle tunes, although I have fun playing it. It's probably more fun to play than it is to listen to. But one of my favorite guitar players, flat pickers, is a man named Norman Blake. And he's from Sulphur Springs, Georgia. He's sort of retired now. He's about 86. But I saw him play many years ago, like 1976. He came to Santa Barbara. I just moved to Santa Barbara, and I already knew about Norman. I'd had a couple of his records that would really inspire me to start flat picking, but seeing him play live is just a real revelation for me. He was kind of like, you know, to my Norman Blake's kind of like to what John Renbourn was to Neil, you know, just a real wow, you know, aha moment. Well, this is kind of like a version of Arkansas Traveler where instead of just playing a bunch of single notes, I'm trying to keep some sort of a loping melody or backup going. So it'd be kind of like this. Just a basic strum like that. It's kind of a bluegrass rhythm. Like there's a simple bluegrass rhythm. And then there's kind of a double strum type one. And the bass alternates like that. So this is what the tune kind of sound like played in this style. And that way I played that is, this particular tune, it sounds really good down low, so you can keep that kind of bass going. So everything I'm playing is like below the 5th fret, pretty much. So it's
Mike,
accessible.
I just want to say something about that. I'm telling you to stop. I want to point out something really neat.
Oh, I thought you were giving me
I just want to interrupt you.
the hook,
before you went
the
on to
gong.
something else.
Yeah.
Because what's really neat about when you're flat picking a melody like that, you typically are playing it in the bass and you're strumming the chord above it. Now, you take all kinds of leads where you're playing stuff up high.
Yeah, the bass
but
part
that's
mostly.
a big difference between a lot of flat picking and finger picking. When I'm finger picking a melody, I use the bass notes to tell so you hear with the chord and put the melody up high. So
Yeah, that one, with a lot of stuff Norman did, he would state the melody low down. And sometimes he played an octave higher, but that's, the idea was to kind of, I think, to make it sound fuller, because playing fiddle tunes as a solo, so they're not just, it doesn't sound like somebody just picking out a melody on the piano with nothing else going on. But yeah, that's a great observation. That one, like, yeah, and his version of Whiskey Before Breakfast is similar. It's a similar type of tune. Anyway, another thing I like to do, since my guitar playing kind of evolved out of being a frustrated finger picker. Like when Neil and I were kids and playing together, I wasn't playing with a pick all that much. It was mostly finger style, and we were kind of into the aside from Neil Young and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and some other mainstream artists at the time who kind of had an acoustic-y sound. There's James Taylor. I kind of really got into James Taylor and Jim Croce, But as time went on, Neil's guitar playing began to really eclipse mine in a big way, because he was starting to learn Scott Joplin rags. He was playing, like when he was in high school, he's playing Bourrée in E minor, Johann Sebastian Bach, and I'm still trying to learn Fire and Rain and the tuning, figure out the tuning to Guinevere, and I'm just feeling like, it's not 'cause of Neil, but I realized my finger picking is just sort of stuck. I don't know what to do. I want to add some oomph to it. I want to have some authority, and I felt like it just wasn't happening. And at the time, my brother was, my older brother, Tim, was a really fine banjo player. He was getting into bluegrass, and he gave me a Bill Monroe record, and I thought, wow, this is really, and it didn't really spark the mandolin for me at that point. I just wanted to play, and there was a band called Country Gazette, a great fiddle player named Byron Berline, who he passed sadly a couple of years ago, but I was fortunate enough to record some stuff with him years later. But just the kind of guitar style, it was just, it just really made me want to pick up one of these. So that's kind of how that came about. But I still like to sound like I'm finger picking sometimes. So I do this thing that, for lack of a better term, is kind of called hybrid picking. And I certainly didn't invent it. It's been around forever, but I didn't even realize I was doing it until somebody used that term. Hey, I like that hybrid picking thing you're doing. And what? But mainly I use the flat pick, and then I use this. I'm not going to show you this finger, it would be impolite, but I use my middle finger as the kind of the other, so I can go. And so it sounds like finger picking, right? Well, I'm using this pick, and I'm using the middle finger, but I can also switch back to just doing a strum. So I was able to kind of get the best of both worlds, of that. I mean, but so that's something else I use a lot in my guitar playing and in my mandolin playing too. I like Neil he's really, his focus is arranging tunes for guitar, and I like to do the same for mandolin. I like to do it for guitar too, but I did a whole project of solo arrangements for mandolins of just tunes that I really liked, similar to how Neil approaches it. This is a tune, I'm going to demonstrate some hybrid picking here. It's sort of my fake slack key tune. It's a tune I wrote some years ago called Morning Star, and it's sort of it just kind of came out sounding kind of Hawaiian, and so I'll play a little of that for you, and it's hybrid style, and I'm using this partial capo, which kind of puts me in a quasi-opa tuning.
So there.
What you
Yeah.
You kind of mentioned an open tuning by using your capo. I'm not trying to.
Oh, I'm sorry. This capo, it's a partial capo, so you can use it a number of different ways. This is the only way I use it. It only capos the A, D, and G string. So you have the. I'm sorry? Oh, you can buy these. This is a shub. No, you can buy these on Amazon or anywhere. A lot of music stores will have them. Someone gave me this capo about 20 years ago, and I thought it was really cool. So I use it sometimes, and anyway.
That'd be a really good thing to go into in depth tomorrow, like during your breakout session.
Yeah, I did do one last time on the partial capo, just to give people ideas on stuff they can do, because it really sounds neat to me. Instead of just, and the cool thing about it is you can play a lot of regular chords. But instead of playing like, I walked out in the streets of Laredo, you could go, as I walked out in the streets of Laredo, as I walked out in Laredo one day. Yeah, it just gives a really cool, nice sound to it. It just kind of opens up the whole register, and it's something you can just slap on and play a lot of the same chords you already know. But then when you play a D, so you kind of it's kind of. Paradise and put up a parking lot. Yeah, it's probably that's probably kind of close to the tunings she used, except she retunes her guitar all over the place.
Do you or Dave use a partial capo and a full capo at the same time?
Yes, you can do that. So if you wanted to play, say, this is the key of E, if you wanted to play an F in this, you'd have to put a full capo on the first fret and move this up to the third fret. And yeah, I think so, and I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a way to use 3 capos.
Not usually, but yes, you can.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what else. Do I have time to play a little something on mandolin before
Sure.
well, if not, I can. I know we're kind of trying to keep a clock here, so
Go ahead, do a mandolin.
I'll do a really.
Stand up and walk around.
Excuse me. This is an F5 mandolin. This is kind of the shape that's been around for about 100 years, and this is primarily the style of mandolin that most mandolin players are using these days. These are the teardrop shape with the F holes. So, they're a little harder to keep in tune than a guitar, but also these strings have been done to death at a camp I was at 2 weeks ago, and I didn't get around to changing them. So I'll play something really, I won't even play the whole version I have of it, but just to give you an idea of solo arrangements of tunes that I just like to play. This is a tune that will be pretty familiar to you, I think, and it kind of makes a neat mandolin instrumental arrangement, and by one of the fathers of bluegrass, Eric Clapton. So